Well, hello and welcome back to Read Becca. We're here again for another library treasure hunt. This is my monthly project to go browse the shelves of my library, looking for those hidden gems sitting on the shelves that I may not have heard of or seen anyone talking about around on BookTube, and give them a shot to see if I can find some underrated treasures. So August's selection was a sci-fi dystopian novel, The Union by Leah Vernon. At present, it has a total of 1,741 ratings, 177 reviews, and an average 3.64 rating. This seems to be a self-pub that got picked up for traditional publishing, so good work on Leah Vernon there. And this is a sci-fi dystopian set 1,000 years in the future, following two characters in alternating perspectives, Sage and Avi. And they're very obviously at disparate sides of the society. So in the society, we have the kind of standards of a dystopia where we have an elite ruling class and we have a worker sort of enslaved and oppressed class. However, what's very different about this novel to other things I have seen is that colorism is a major element to this. So because of things that have gone on in our present day, as well as climate change, wealth inequity, classism, all of that conflict that's happening right now led to a major fallout where ultimately racial discrimination was pushed back against. But over 1,000 years, that has turned into people of darker or more pigmented skin, people who are larger, are kind of viewed as the elites, are very much as the natural order of things, have taken over and suppressed people of lighter pigmented skin. And they have built scientific approaches for that is just the natural order of things, very much aligning with the way things were expressed and explained throughout slavery era US, for instance, or Europe. So this is very much a reversal on that. And there, of course, is a moment of realization where, oh, all of the science we've built, like we've just done exactly what was done in the past to people of Black and brown races. And so I think that moment maybe needed a little bit more weight, but I liked the idea of what this was doing at a very simple level. This also feels like it engages with a lot of the dystopian tropes and is doing some fresh things with those, though I think it fits into the mold that will be a bit predictable for you if you read a lot of dystopian. It also feels like it could fit into YA or young adult literature, or it might not. This doesn't have a heavy focus on coming of age young adult elements, but it does have younger protagonists. Both Sage and Avi are teenagers at this point, and they're sort of rising into adulthood and facing the challenges of their society. So I think it could go either way and be appropriate for any age range. It also doesn't really have a romance at all. I was definitely expecting this to be more romance forward based on what I was seeing in terms of categories before I picked it up, but very little romance. So if you're looking for a dystopian without the typical YA romance, this might be a good option for you. So where this kind of didn't work for me is that, as I mentioned, that recognition of, oh wow, we've just repeated all of the problems of the past is not a big turning point in anything. It is realized, but it's just realized, and that's about it. There is rebellion to this, and that is sort of the growing focus of the story. And I sort of wanted more focus on that, honestly. It feels like that just kind of was present and not really central. It also felt that the middle of the book, for me, didn't go anywhere. We sort of kept repeating skirmishes and conflicts that are there to be conflict, but they're not really driving anything forward or developing the characters at all. So this doesn't seem very long, but the whole middle felt very long, unfortunately. And I think finally, for me, what didn't work, to what I was saying about the character development kind of lacking through that, I found the two character voices to be quite similar in how they're written and indistinguishable for the most part. So the characterization was not terribly strong. However, all of that said, this was compelling enough and fresh enough that I did keep reading, and I finished the book. It's not a standout, but it's a satisfying dystopian that's doing a couple of fresh things. So I think if you are a very heavy reader in the dystopian subgenre of sci-fi, this would probably be a good hit for you. I think for me, it was just kind of on the bubble between being very middle of the road and one that I could have enjoyed. I wish we had seen a little bit more depth and nuance to the characters and the conversations being had here, and it could have been a hit. There is a sequel to this that's out, so maybe this does go to those places, but I think for me, this wasn't a treasure, unfortunately, so I'm probably just going to set it aside. But to what I said, this might be for you, so if you have any interest in this and are a big dystopian reader, I think you should probably check it out. That is it for me today, and thank you so very much for watching.